Hi guys, Laura here from Hedgehog's Homestead. So a while back I canned some apple pie filling. I have a video of that and my pie crust. And today I'm going to combine these together. I have company coming over. Have these things ready to go on the shelf. Well, this one was in my freezer. And now I'm just going to whip it together and I'll show you guys how I do that. So I'm going to put my pie crust on some parchment paper, and I have this in the freezer. I took it out of the freezer last night and put it in my fridge because I knew I was having company for dinner tonight. So last night I took my pie filling or my pie crust out of the freezer. And I have the top in there too, so when I make a pie it makes the bottom and the top. So I take out some parchment paper, I lay my pie crust on the parchment paper. I have my oven preheated for 400 degrees. I have my pie on the parchment paper and I take the wrapping that I had on around the pie crust and I put that on top. And then I just start rolling it out. I think I'm going to turn this the other way. There we go. So it doesn't roll onto my pie crust. And the one thing I like about it on parchment paper, Pasture, hurry up, is that I can turn the pie crust at any angle that I want. Now this is where it's nice to be a little taller so you can get above it. I like this kind of rolling pin, but you guys use whatever kind you like. So to keep it from rolling away from you when you push on it, I always kind of put my tummy right on there. Keep on spinning it. See where it cracked? I'm gonna come this way now. So that will help bring that together more. It's thicker over on this side. Just kind of keep on turning it. Going for, this is a 9-inch. Normally I do a bigger pie tin, but so this will go all the way up to like an 11-inch. This recipe, and I'll leave the recipe for this pie crust. It's absolutely delicious. You can use it for anything really. But I'm only doing we only have 3 people coming over for dinner tonight. So, well, it's going to be 3 of us. My aunt and my mom, and that's it, and me. My husband went home, but he's coming back, guys. So exciting. He's coming back. He should be here within 3 weeks. Now you want don't take your pie crust out and put it on the counter. You do want it cold while you're working with it, even though you have to use some muscle. Now see, this dough is sticking to this a little bit. You want to kind of keep on feeling if it's cold. If it's getting too warm, it won't roll out right. So you'll want to put it in the refrigerator for a while. And we're just trying to get it to like 1/8 of an inch thick, or until it fits in our pie pan. This piece, I'm gonna just kind of put it over there. Don't worry about it being perfect, guys. Because if it was perfect, it wouldn't be homemade, right? That one broke through a little bit. Okay, it's really starting to thin out now. You can see the marbling of the butter in there. This is a really good pie crust. I really enjoy this pie crust, and it's butter, flour, and a little salt and a tiny bit of sugar. That's all it is. Really simple to make. Keep in your freezer and ready to go. And it will last up to 3 months in your freezer. So if you guys want that, this recipe, I'll leave it in the description box. I'll leave the video for this pie crust below, and that has the recipe in it. And you don't have to have. I like to make my own filling and can it. But if you have canned filling on the shelf, this is great for that too. Now, I'm going to get this to size, and then I'm going to put it back in the refrigerator for a little bit. See how it's coming through a little bit, and it's starting to stick. Your pie dough is getting sticky because it's getting warmed up. Now, I'm going to put it back in the fridge for, let me see here. A little bigger. Try to make it as round as possible. You can see how jagged my edges are. Don't worry about it, guys. You see I'm doing it on TV, and they've got, but they're doing, it's probably the 4th pie crust that you see by the time it's filmed and ready for you guys. This is real life. Okay, my oven's heated up at 400 degrees. So I'm going to put, this will fit now. You can see that will fit your pie tin, but I want this to cool a little bit before I try to put it in my pie tin. So I'm going to put it in my refrigerator for about 20 minutes or so. And then I'll come back and we'll finish this up and I'll show you how I get it in here. So we will be right back, and as soon as I take this out of the fridge, we'll let it cool just a little bit. It's easier to work with when it's cold, remember that, okay? Okay guys, we are back. So now we have this all rolled out to the size we want, right? So now we're going to gently take off the saran wrap. It's been in the fridge for a while. It's nice and stiff, which is fine. That's what we want. You can see where this saran wrap broke a little bit. That's okay. And now what I'm gonna do, you know that problem of you roll it up and then you put it over? Well, this is simpler. I'm gonna show you. You're gonna, if your pie crust sticks to that paper really well, you put your pie crust right on there. And you're gonna turn it over. Okay, and then you slowly, ever so gently, and this is why it helps that it's cold and it's been in the fridge. I really watch these thinner edges that you made. And you're just gonna pull it off very slowly. There you go, voila. Now another trick is when you're putting this in, you don't want to ever stretch your dough. You want to pick up the sides and push it down. So I'm not stretching it, I'm pushing it into the mold. You don't want to stick your fingers in there and just kind of push it all in. You just want to kind of pick it up, and anywhere where it's cracked, see there? Just push it together. Okay? I'm picking it up and then I'm placing it in instead of stretching it. I do stick my finger there for a minute just so that I can feel if it's in. Okay. Now anywhere where there's a piece that's cracked, this is homemade, guys. It doesn't have to be perfect. In fact, if it's perfect, are people going to believe that you made it, right? Okay. Voila. So it fits in there fine, right? And then we're going to just go ahead and cut off this edge with just a regular knife. Okay. Just around the pie crust. And I don't throw these away. I'll make them for, I'll save that for like mini pies or to add it to my top. Okay, there we go. Now I'm just going to add some holes in the bottom. I have my temperature at 400 degrees. And I'm going to put it in there for about 25 minutes, or just until it starts browning. And then I'm going to take it out and I'm going to brush it with some an egg wash. But before I do that, I'm just going to put this is a little weighted, I have my little beads in there, just so it won't bubble up. The holes also help with that, okay? And it holds it down in place, and that will also keep it from shrinking. Okay, so now we're going to put it in the oven for about 25 minutes, and we'll see you guys back in 25 minutes when I take it out and I'll show you our next step. What I do like to do while I'm waiting for that to cook, Siri, give me a timer for 25 minutes.
I'm listening.
Well, thank you, Siri. Just put that.
You're welcome.
Put that dough aside there. Now I'm going to go ahead and get out my other pie crust, my top. Well, that's cooking, right? And I'm keep on working it. I like these kind of rolling pins because I can really push down on it. It does take some muscle, a little bit of muscle, but that's okay because you know what? It's good for you. This one doesn't have to be as big as the other pie crust, the bottom, because you're not filling so much space. But you don't want it too thick either, so. It's so nice because you can see the bubbles or the ripples coming out of it when you do it this way. The reason why I'm doing this while the other one's in, well, it saves time, right? And it's like the perfect amount of time. And your saran wrap will rip. That's just part of the process. On top. Okay, almost done there. But I'm telling you, you can work it way longer this way. Otherwise, you keep on having to stick it in the fridge sometimes. Just my experience anyways. Getting quite warm now, so that is probably good enough, guys. So I'm gonna put this back in the fridge. We'll put this back in the fridge, and as soon as I take out the pie crust that's in there now, we will show you what special things I do to keep that filling from coming out the bottom. And we'll get this in the fridge and get it ready to go on top, and we'll see you in probably about 15 minutes when this other pie crust is cooked and ready to put our filling in. Okay. Now I'm going to bring you guys in closer so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to take my little holder, and it did shrink a little bit, but that's okay because we're going to have another pie crust over the top. Now, it's a pretty thick pie crust. Now to fill in the little holes there, I have an egg. I'm going to get the egg white out of this egg. There we go. And then I'm just going to brush that on any cracks and all those holes. And that will keep the pie crust from getting out. And then we're going to put it back in the oven for like 5 minutes. Just going to fill in those holes. The only reason why you put holes in it in the first place is to keep it from bubbling. Okay, now it goes back in the oven for 5 minutes at 400 degrees still. Okay. And then after that, we put in our pie filling and we put our top on and cut some slits in it and then cook that for like 15. Voila, you got a pie. So we'll bring you back as soon as that's done and take you along for the next steps. Okay guys, it's ready to take back out of the oven. That egg has cooked in there. Now for our next step, open the can. Because I spent the time and made a bunch of this ahead of time, and so I am ready for company that comes in out of town. We put the can, and it's still homemade, guys. That's the one thing I don't think, people see, oh, canning is a lot of work. It is up front, but you know what ingredients are in your food this way, and what preservatives are, if any preservatives. I think the only preservative in this is sugar, and you can customize it. You're not going by somebody else's. And one can or one jar of my pie filling is good for a 9-inch pan. Now when I do a bigger 12 or 11-inch, I use 1.5 to 2. Okay, so we got that, and now we're going to go ahead and toss that. You cannot reuse these, guys. Sometimes you can reuse them for crafts and things, but not storing food. We're going to get that other pie crust out of our fridge. That smells so good. Okay. We're just going to take our pie. We're going to do just like we did last time. Put it over. This one didn't get as cool, so sticking a little bit more. It's okay, we'll get it. Now I did not throw away those scraps that we had from the other pie crust, because those can come in handy if you ever want to bake a little mini pie, or you know, say it's just you and your husband at home, or just, you know, something like that. You can make little mini pies when you have pie crust ready to go and pie filling. You don't have to make a big pie every time. Okay. And there we go. We just got that in there like so. And so what I'm going to do now there's two ways that you can do this. You can do the traditional where you put your finger here and then you wrap around it and then you kind of do that edge like so, which makes a really nice design. But since this is family and we don't need to get all fancy, we're not gonna bother with making it extra special tonight. Now if there's any cracks, you can just fill those in. So this is what I'm talking about, these extra pieces here. You want to leave a little extra edge on there, but not too thick, okay? So I usually just turn those under. See how I'm just kind of folding it under there. And then I'm just going to do the fork method on this, guys. Now if you notice a spot that's a little thin, you can just take a little bit of extra your pie crust and add it too. This is Homestead Perfect, guys. It's not, no intimidation here, no making things look perfect all the time. Okay? That's what I'm about. It's more important that it's delicious, right? Okay. And then I'm just going to take my fork and crimp the edges. And then we're going to take some more of that that egg wash and wash this on top. I'm going to put some slits in it before I do that. Okay. Got my little knife here. Simple slits, nothing fancy. Okay. We're just going to put that egg wash on there. This time I like to have the yellow in there. That just gives it a nice crusty. And then after this, we're going to kick it up a notch, guys. Okay? I'm going to add a little special touch to it. Yeah, it's not fancy, but this is going to make it taste nice and crispy and give it just a nice little extra flavor. Okay? So we have some raw sugar here. I'm just going to wash my hands real quick. Just rinse them off. I'm going to put a little sugar in a little bowl so I'm not getting my hands in there. And I'm just going to sprinkle the sugar on top. And this tastes delicious, and it looks beautiful too when the pie's done. Okay. There you guys go. Now we're going to cook this puppy for 50 minutes or so. basically you want your filling to start to come up through the vents that you have in there and be heated all the way through. The pie crust is not cooked on top, but it's already cooked on the bottom mostly, right? The pie on top, the pie crust on top needs to cook, and then the pie filling needs to be heated through. That's already cooked. So you just want this nice and warm and heated up. Okay, so back in the stove, and we're going to put the stove down to 350 and cook it for about an hour. We're going to keep an eye on it, and when it starts venting out and just bubbling, it's done. Okay, guys, here we go. Okay, and that is it, guys. That is how you make a quick apple pie. Okay, guys, my timer is going off. And I added, so I put it in there for 50 minutes. I added another 10 minutes to it. And now it's bubbling out. You want to make sure that you have a rack on the bottom when you do this, when you make pie. So it is done. Looking totally delicious. Just a little spillage, not much. And there you go, one apple pie, guys. And if you look, you can see that sugar that's on top just kind of gives it this nice little crystal to it, and perfect little pie for dinner for family. I love that sugar on there. It just kind of gives it a little extra. Not only does it boost the taste, but it looks, just gives that nice crystal glossy look to the top as well. I will link both of the, oh man, sorry, that smells good. Anyways, I will link both the canning recipe for this apple pie filling and the crust down below. Pretty simple and easy to make for both of those. So try it out, guys. I know you'll like it. And you guys have a wonderful evening. And I hope you get to enjoy an apple pie with your family tonight. God bless you guys. Good night.